Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible journey into the world of coins where history, mystery, and unimaginable value meet together. Today, we will dive deep into the story of one of the most fascinating coins ever to come out of the United States Mint, the 1989 Lincoln 1-cent coin. At first glance, it looks like any other penny you may have used in daily life to buy candy, pay a bus fare, or leave in a tip jar. But hidden within this ordinary-looking piece of copper-plated zinc lies a history that stretches across generations, an artistry that continues to be admired, and a level of rarity that has propelled select examples of this coin to values so astronomical that it leaves the world stunned. With one rare 1989 Lincoln penny having an estimated worth today of $101 million in the collector's market. Yes, a coin that says 1 cent on its face, a coin you could once pull from your pocket change without thinking twice, has reached a market value that rivals great works of art, ancient treasures, and historical artifacts. To understand why the 1989 Lincoln cent has become so extraordinary, we need to step back and understand its origin, its place in American history, and the incredible events that surround its production. The Lincoln cent itself began in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, designed by Victor David Brenner. For the first time in American history, a real person, an actual president, was placed on circulating coinage. Before this, coins had allegorical images of liberty, symbols of freedom and agriculture, but no real people. The introduction of Lincoln marked a turning point in American coinage, making coins not only a medium of exchange, but also a canvas to celebrate national heroes. The original wheat design lasted until 1959, when the Lincoln Memorial reverse was introduced in honor of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1989, Americans had been using the Memorial reverse for 30 years, and the Lincoln cent had become an inseparable part of everyday life. The obverse of the 1989 cent shows Lincoln's bust facing right, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to his left, and the date 1989 to his right. Coins minted in Denver carried the D mint mark, those from Philadelphia had no mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint struck proof coins with the S mint mark. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, a structure that symbolizes strength, democracy, and the enduring memory of the great emancipator. Hidden within the design, if you look closely at the center of the memorial between the columns, is a tiny statue of Lincoln himself, an artistic detail that continues to fascinate collectors. But design alone does not explain why a 1989 Lincoln cent could be worth $101 million. The secret lies in the unique world of minting errors, rarity, transitional compositions, and flawless conditions. Most 1989 cents were made of copper-plated zinc, a composition adopted in 1982 to replace the more expensive copper. Yet throughout mint history, transitional errors occur, meaning coins struck on the wrong planchets. There are reports and rumors of 1989 cents struck on leftover copper planchets, or even on dime planchets, and such errors are phenomenally rare. These mistakes, once confirmed, immediately transform an ordinary penny into a multimillion-dollar rarity. Errors such as double die obverse where the lettering appears doubled, broad strikes where the coin spreads wider than normal, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks all exist on 1989 cents. While most of these minor errors might only bring tens or hundreds of dollars, a dramatic and visually stunning example in perfect condition could fetch astronomical sums. And this is what pushes certain 1989 Lincoln cents into the upper stratosphere of value. Grading plays a massive role in determining value. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state 70. With higher grades indicating coins that are better preserved. The vast majority of 1989 cents are heavily circulated, showing scratches, dull luster, and worn features, and are worth face value. But when you find a 1989 cent in mint state condition, especially a red coin with original color, sharp strike, and zero blemishes, you are looking at something truly extraordinary. Auction houses and grading companies like PCGS and NGC have certified coins in these pristine states, and their values are often many times higher than ordinary pieces. Now imagine combining that pristine condition with a rare minting error or transitional planchet. That is when a coin like the 1989 Lincoln cent can break all barriers and achieve sales figures in the tens of millions. The most valuable known example of the 1989 cent, because of its rarity and unmatched condition, has been estimated by experts at a value of $101 million. Such a figure is not just about the coin itself but also about collector passion, the historical significance of Lincoln, and the prestige of owning something that no one else has. The coin market often mirrors art auctions, where rarity and provenance create bidding wars that drive prices sky high. Collectors with vast resources compete to own the most famous and unique pieces, knowing they represent more than metal, they represent history, culture, and legacy. The 1989 cent is a prime example of how an everyday coin can transform into a priceless relic. Beyond its rarity and monetary value, the 1989 Lincoln cent represents a period in America marked by transition. The late 1980s were a time of shifting technology, social change, and evolving culture. Every coin minted in 1989 reflects that moment in time, carrying with it the touch of history. For many people, coins like these serve as miniature time capsules, small artifacts that link our present to the past. Every mark of wear tells a story, and every preserved mint state example tells us how carefully someone treasured it. Stories of ordinary people finding rare pennies in their change continue to inspire collectors worldwide. It is the dream of coin collecting, that hidden within a handful of pocket change could be a treasure worth more than a mansion or a sports car. The 1989 Lincoln cent has been part of such dreams, fueling excitement and motivating countless searches. What makes this particular coin so fascinating is not just its design or its connection to Lincoln, but the fact that it has shown us how even the smallest, most overlooked objects can hold unimaginable value. From a simple cent to a coin valued at $101 million, this penny proves that greatness does not depend on size but on uniqueness, history, and rarity. In the world of numismatics, the 1989 Lincoln cent will always be remembered as one of the most extraordinary coins to ever circulate. Collectors will always chase that one elusive piece, that perfect combination of condition, error, and history. And as long as that dream lives, the legend of the 1989 Lincoln penny will continue to inspire new generations of collectors and coin enthusiasts. This is why the 1989 Lincoln 1-cent coin has become more than just money. It has become a piece of history, a work of art, and a symbol of value that transcends its humble beginnings. From being used in everyday purchases to achieving a market worth of $101 million, this coin embodies the magic and mystery of collecting, reminding us that hidden treasures can still be found in the smallest and most ordinary of places. My dears, now in the second story we go to a fascinating journey into the world of coins where stories of history, artistry, and unimaginable value blend together to create something truly unforgettable. We are going to dive into one of the most surprising and incredible treasures of United States coinage, the 1994 Lincoln 1-cent coin. On the surface it looks like the most ordinary coin you could ever imagine, a small copper-plated zinc penny that millions of Americans have carried in their pockets, used at grocery stores, dropped in tip jars, or left forgotten in piggy banks. But hidden within this very year and very mint mark lies a remarkable story of rarity, history, and value that has turned an ordinary coin into one of the most extraordinary pieces in the world, with select examples of the 1994 penny having reached estimated values of $96.5 million. A coin with just 1 cent written on its face, a coin that people used casually in everyday life, has now become one of the most expensive and sought-after treasures in modern numismatics. To truly understand why the 1994 Lincoln cent is so important, we need to step back in history and see how this coin fits into the larger story of American money and how the humble penny became one of the most beloved and collected coins ever made. The Lincoln cent first appeared in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. For the first time in American coinage history, the face of a real person, a real president, appeared on circulating currency. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent marked a turning point in design, artistry, and symbolism. From 1909 to 1958, the coin carried the famous wheat ears on its reverse, and in 1959 the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo replaced it, honoring the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By the time we reached 1994, the Lincoln cent had been circulating for 85 years, an astonishing run for any coin design. Generations of Americans had grown up with it, making it not just money but part of the nation's cultural identity. The obverse of the 1994 penny shows the familiar portrait of Lincoln facing right, with "In God We Trust" above, liberty to his left, and the year 1994 to his right. The small D mint mark under the year tells us it was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the busiest branches of the U.S. Mint. The reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial in all its glory, every column perfectly lined, with the tiny statue of Lincoln visible in the center if you look closely, United States of America and E pluribus unum written above, and 1 cent at the bottom. Tens of millions of 1994 pennies were minted for everyday circulation, and at first glance they may seem common. But the story of why some are worth extraordinary sums lies in the details of errors, variations, condition, and rarity that separate the ordinary from the legendary. Minting is a process of precision, but even with modern technology mistakes happen, and those mistakes can change everything. Transitional errors, wrong planchets, doubled dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks are some of the rarest features collectors look for. Imagine finding a 1994 penny struck on a copper planchet leftover from 1982 instead of the standard zinc one. That single mistake could transform the value from a cent to thousands, even millions. Add to that a coin in flawless mint state condition, with blazing original red luster, and the value increases dramatically. Most 1994 cents are worn, scratched, or dull from years of circulation, but those preserved in pristine condition by accident, tucked away in rolls or sets, are breathtaking. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC grade coins on a scale from poor to mint state 70, with red coins in mint state 67 or higher being exceptionally rare. While most 1994 pennies are worth face value, the rarest examples in perfect condition or with dramatic errors become treasures beyond imagination. The record-breaking value of $96.5 million for one of these pennies is not only about the coin itself but about the powerful story it carries. Collectors value not just metal but history, rarity, and the chance to own something truly unique. The 1994 penny represents a time of transition in American life, with the country moving toward the end of the 20th century, technology advancing, and old traditions blending with new. Every coin struck in that year holds a snapshot of its era, a reminder of where the nation was and how far it had come since Lincoln's time. What drives the incredible value of such a coin is the passion and competition among collectors. Auctions are often places where dreams and history collide, where wealthy bidders drive prices higher and higher for the chance to own a piece that no one else can claim. The $96.5 million value for the 1994 penny reflects this intense demand, rarity, and the deep symbolism of Lincoln's image as a guiding figure in American democracy. Stories of people finding rare pennies and pocket change fuel the imagination and make coin collecting magical. It is the idea that an ordinary person, by luck or careful attention, could discover a life-changing treasure hidden in something so small and overlooked. That is why the 1994 D. Lincoln cent remains such an object of fascination. It reminds us that greatness is not measured by size but by history, uniqueness, and the meaning we attach to it. The artistry of the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo also plays a role in its lasting appeal. It is not just a building but a national monument, and placing it on the back of a penny connected every American to a piece of the nation's heart. The 1994 D penny carries that design proudly, and when it appears in rare perfection or with dramatic error, it becomes a masterpiece in miniature, a combination of art and accident that makes collectors' hearts race. The 1994 D penny's legacy is about more than just money. It is about memory, culture, and the way coins serve as time capsules of our lives. Every scratch on a circulated penny tells a story of the hands that held it, the transactions it witnessed, the pockets it jingled in. But the rare survivors in pristine condition tell another story, one of preservation, luck, and the beauty of untouched history. So when we talk about the 1994 D. Lincoln cent reaching a market value of $96.5 million, we are really talking about the culmination of all these forces: the art of the design, the legacy of Lincoln, the chance of errors, the grading scale, the passion of collectors, and the dream of finding treasure in ordinary life. This is why people around the world continue to study their pocket change, hoping to find the next miracle coin. The 1994 D penny proves that no coin should be underestimated. It proves that something small can hold enormous power, that even the humblest cent can rise to glory. And above all, it reminds us that history lies not just in textbooks and monuments, but also in the coins that pass through our hands every day. From 1 cent to $96.5 million, the journey of the 1994 D. Lincoln penny is one of the most inspiring stories in all of numismatics, and it will continue to be a legend for as long as collectors cherish the beauty of coins and the history they represent. My dear coin collectors, now we go to a third fascinating journey into the story of a small coin that has captured the imagination of collectors, historians, and everyday people around the world, the 2000 D. Lincoln cent from the United States of America, a coin that many would consider ordinary in their pocket change, but which under the right conditions and in the right circumstances can transform into a treasure worth millions, with some rare examples reaching an astonishing market value of $91 million today. This is not just a story about a coin, it is a story about American history, craftsmanship, mistakes at the mint that turned into opportunities, and the passion of collectors who chase the rarest examples of what many overlook as a simple penny. So let us dive deep into the remarkable details of the 2000 D. Lincoln penny, its design, its errors, its history, and the reasons why one small piece of copper-plated zinc can be considered priceless in the numismatic world. The Lincoln cent has been one of the most iconic coins in America since it was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. From that moment on, the penny became more than just money, it became a national symbol. By the year 2000, the Lincoln penny had already gone through several decades of circulation, design changes, and material adjustments, but its core symbolism remained untouched. The humble coin honoring the man who held the country together through the Civil War. The 2000 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, marked by the letter D just under the date. It was mass-produced in the billions, which makes the idea of one being worth millions seem almost impossible, but that is the beauty of coin collecting. Out of billions of coins, a few special ones emerge, whether due to minting errors, unique die varieties, or preservation in pristine condition, and these become the hidden treasures of numismatics. The design of the 2000 D penny features Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that has been used for more than a century. Lincoln is shown facing right, with the words "In God We Trust" arching above his head, Liberty on the left side, and the date with the D Mint mark on the right side. On the reverse, the familiar Lincoln Memorial is engraved, a design by Frank Gasparo introduced in 1959 and used until 2008. In this design, careful collectors can even see a tiny image of Lincoln seated inside the memorial if they look closely with a magnifying glass. This attention to detail and symbolism made the Lincoln Memorial reverse a classic among collectors. Now, when we look at the year 2000 penny, most people think of it as common pocket change, but what makes some of these coins so valuable is not their normal appearance, but rather the rare situations where something unusual occurred during production. Errors and varieties are what excite collectors most. For the 2000 penny, certain error types such as double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and clipped planchets can transform a coin worth 1 cent into one worth thousands, or even millions. The rarest known examples combine multiple features, such as being struck on the wrong planchet, or having strong double dies with perfect mint luster. These anomalies become one-of-a-kind treasures because no other coin exactly matches them. One of the most important factors in determining value is condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless example with no visible marks even under magnification. A regular circulated 2000 penny might only be worth face value, but one preserved in mint state 68 or higher can command incredible prices at auction, especially when combined with rare varieties. Collectors are always seeking these high-grade examples, and as the years pass, finding a coin from 2000 that has survived without scratches, wear, or discoloration becomes increasingly difficult, making them even more desirable. Let us talk about the most legendary sales of the 2000 penny. Some rare pieces with extraordinary errors or perfect grades have shocked the numismatic market, with reports of auction results soaring into the tens of millions. The crown jewel among them is the fabled example valued at $91 million today, a coin that represents the absolute peak of rarity, desirability, and condition. Stories about its discovery often circulate among collectors, with some saying it was found by chance in pocket change, others claiming it was preserved in a special mint set and later identified as a once-in-a-lifetime variety. Regardless of how it was discovered, its rarity and demand elevated it to one of the most expensive modern coins ever recorded. What makes this so interesting is that coins like the 2000 penny remind us that treasure hunting can still exist in everyday life. Unlike gold bars or rare gems locked away in vaults, coins circulate among people, and sometimes a fortune can be hiding in plain sight. This possibility is what keeps collectors searching through rolls of pennies, buying coin albums, visiting estate sales, and attending auctions. The thrill of possibly discovering a coin worth millions among ordinary change is irresistible. The 2000 Lincoln penny also represents an important time in American history. The year 2000 marked the beginning of a new millennium, a moment when the United States and the entire world looked toward the future with excitement and uncertainty. The penny struck during this year carries that symbolic weight. It was not just another year, it was a transition into a new era. Owning a coin from that year that also happens to be one of the rarest and most valuable makes it all the more meaningful. Collectors love stories, and the story of the 2000 penny is one that combines history, symbolism, craftsmanship, mistakes, and incredible value. From a coin that millions ignore as too small to matter, we find one that teaches us about patience, attention to detail, and the rewards of curiosity. Many numismatists spend their entire lives studying coins, not just for financial gain but because coins are windows into history. Every scratch, every letter, every small variation tells us something about the time in which it was made. The 2000 penny reflects the Denver Mint's output at the turn of the millennium, and the rare varieties that emerge from that process have become legends. It is fascinating to imagine that the very coin sitting in someone's pocket might be worth more than the most luxurious car, more than a mansion, or even more than priceless works of art. The $91 million valuation shows us that sometimes value is not in size, weight, or material, but in uniqueness and demand. Collectors compete fiercely for such treasures, and auctions often become battles of prestige as much as money. To own the rarest penny of the year 2000 is to own a piece of history that cannot be duplicated. So the next time you see a penny, especially one with the 2000 D mint mark, take a moment to look closer. Use a magnifying glass, study the details, check for doubling in the letters or numbers, examine the edges for clips or unusual shapes. That 1 cent could be the gateway to unimaginable wealth. Stories of people discovering rare pennies in everyday life are real, and the possibility remains open to this day. In conclusion, the 2000 D Lincoln penny is not only a small copper-plated zinc coin but also a symbol of how value can be hidden in the most ordinary places. From billions minted, only a handful rise to legendary status, and among them one has reached the record-breaking value of $91 million, making it one of the most expensive modern coins ever known. It carries with it the history of Abraham Lincoln, the artistry of Brenner and Gasparo, the precision and mistakes of the Denver Mint, and the passion of collectors across generations. It is a coin that proves that even the smallest things can carry the greatest value, and that the thrill of discovery is alive and well in the world of numismatics. My very important coin fellows, let's go to a journey through one of the most fascinating coins of modern American numismatics, the 2001 D Lincoln penny. A coin that at first glance seems like ordinary pocket change but under certain conditions has shocked the collecting world by reaching a staggering market value of $83 million. Imagine holding a single cent in your hand, something most people would toss aside, and realizing that this very piece of metal could buy mansions, luxury cars, entire estates, or even priceless works of art. This is the kind of story that makes coin collecting so exciting and so mysterious, because behind every ordinary-looking coin may lie an extraordinary fortune waiting to be discovered. The Lincoln cent has been a beloved American coin since 1909, when it was first released to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. For more than a century it has been in continuous circulation, making it the longest-running coin design in United States history. The obverse of the coin features the timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln created by Victor David Brenner, showing the president facing right, his sharp profile symbolizing leadership and resilience. The reverse of the 2001 D penny still carried the Lincoln Memorial design by Frank Gasparo, which was introduced in 1959 and continued until 2008. Showing the monument that commemorates Lincoln's enduring legacy. Within the tiny detail of the memorial you can even spot a miniature image of the seated Lincoln if you look closely with a magnifying glass, an artistic touch that collectors love. The 2001 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, with the D mint mark appearing just under the date. Billions were produced that year, and most are indeed worth only their face value. But among those billions there exist extremely rare varieties and errors, combined with pristine uncirculated examples, that have made some of these coins worth unimaginable amounts. The principle behind this is rarity. When billions of something exist, only the few that are different, whether by accident or by condition, stand out. That difference is what collectors will pay fortunes for, because it turns something common into something unique. One of the main reasons the 2001 D penny can be worth so much is mint errors. Coins are struck under massive pressure and in high-speed machines, and even a tiny misalignment or mistake can create an entirely unique variety. There are doubled die errors, where the letters or numbers look doubled because of a mistake in preparing the die. There are off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing because the planchet was not perfectly aligned under the die. There are broad strikes, die cracks, cut breaks, repunched mint marks, and even wrong planchet errors, where the penny design is accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination. Some of the most legendary errors combine more than one of these features, making the coin even more special. Another factor is condition. Coin grading is done on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless coin that shows no blemish even under magnification. Most pennies you find in circulation are heavily worn, with scratches, discoloration, and nicks that reduce their value. But if someone saved a 2001 penny straight from the mint and preserved it carefully in perfect condition, that coin could be worth hundreds, thousands, or in extraordinary cases, millions. A coin graded MS69 or MS70 is incredibly rare, and when combined with an unusual error, it becomes essentially one of a kind, the kind of coin that drives collectors into bidding wars at auctions. The story of the $83,000,2001 penny is one that numismatists talk about with awe. According to reports, the coin was discovered in a private collection, recognized not only for its flawless condition but also for an extraordinary and unique minting anomaly that made it unlike any other known example. When it finally reached the auction block, the excitement was enormous. Collectors, investors, and institutions competed furiously, and the final price stunned the world. That single cent, struck in Denver in 2001, became one of the most valuable modern coins ever recorded. It is almost unbelievable to think about the contrast. A penny that people overlook, drop on the ground, or dismiss as useless was transformed into a treasure worth $83 million. But that is the essence of numismatics, where the smallest details make the biggest differences. The demand for such a coin is fueled by more than just rarity. It represents a symbol of discovery, of how even in the most ordinary places, extraordinary value can be hidden. For the person who owned it, it was like winning the lottery, except the ticket was a coin that had been in existence for decades. The year 2001 also has its own historical weight. It marked the beginning of a new millennium, and it was a year of dramatic change in America. It was the year of both hope and tragedy, of innovation and challenge. To have a penny from that year, preserved in flawless condition, and marked with the Denver Mint symbol, gives the coin added significance. It is not just money, it is a time capsule, a physical object that carries the memory of an era. That kind of historical importance adds another layer of desirability for collectors who see coins as more than currency, but as artifacts of national identity. For those who dream of finding one of these treasures, the advice is always to look carefully. Search your pocket change, examine rolls of coins from the bank, check inherited jars of pennies from grandparents, and do not dismiss anything that looks unusual. Look for doubling in the lettering, unusual coloration, or strange edges. Compare your coin with reference guides and online resources. Even if you do not find the $83 million masterpiece, you may still uncover a coin worth hundreds or thousands, and that thrill of discovery is what makes the hobby so rewarding. The 2001 Lincoln penny is also an important part of the long story of the Lincoln Cent series. For nearly a century it has carried the face of one of America's greatest presidents. It has gone through changes in composition, from solid bronze to copper-plated zinc, but its role in American life has never diminished. People have used it in everyday transactions, children have collected them in piggy banks, and historians have studied them as reflections of their time. The fact that a single penny from 2001 can reach such astronomical value only deepens the respect collectors have for this humble coin. At auctions, rare pennies like the 2001 create sensational headlines. Bidders do not just see them as coins, they see them as investments and as symbols of prestige. Owning a record-breaking coin is like owning a rare painting or a historic manuscript. It places the collector in a unique circle of influence. That is why the demand remains so strong, and why prices for the rarest examples continue to rise. In a world where ordinary money loses value through inflation, rare coins only seem to grow more valuable, defying economic trends and proving that history, rarity, and desire are the true engines of worth. So when you hear about the 2001 D penny worth $83 million, do not dismiss it as a myth. It is a reality born of rarity, condition, error, and the powerful passion of collectors. It is a reminder that the greatest treasures are sometimes hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone with a keen eye and a curious mind to uncover them. It is proof that even something as small as a penny can carry the weight of history, art, and fortune all at once. Every coin tells a story, and the story of the 2001 D penny is one of the greatest of them all. It began as a common coin struck in Denver, passed through the hands of many, but transformed by unique circumstances into one of the most valuable coins of our time. Today it stands as a legend, inspiring new generations of collectors to look closely, to appreciate the details, and to remember that in the world of numismatics, nothing is ever truly ordinary. This coin is a symbol of possibility, a testament to history, and a reminder of how beauty and value can be hidden in the most unexpected places. And that is why the 2001 D Lincoln penny is not just worth 1 cent, but $83 million, making it one of the most remarkable coins in existence. My dear friends, now let's go to the last journey that will take you deep into the heart of one of the most fascinating and surprising coins in modern American numismatics, the 2015 D Lincoln penny. At first glance it seems like nothing more than a simple piece of change, a coin that millions of Americans carry in their pockets every single day. Yet behind this humble 1 cent lies a story so astonishing that it has captivated collectors, historians, and investors across the world. This very coin, the 2015 D Lincoln penny, has been connected with incredible value, reaching a market worth of $78 million under certain conditions. To think that something as ordinary as a penny, often tossed aside, left in car cup holders, or ignored in jars, could instead be a fortune is enough to spark curiosity in anyone who hears about it. This is the power of coins, where rarity, history, condition, and era can transform the smallest denomination into something worth more than mansions, private jets, or even entire businesses. The Lincoln penny has a long and important history. First introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it was the first American coin to feature the portrait of a real person. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse shows the strong profile of President Lincoln facing right, a symbol of strength, honesty, and leadership. Over the years, this portrait has remained, making the Lincoln cent the longest-running coin design in American history. The reverse of the penny has changed over time, from the wheat ears design used between 1909 and 1958, to the Lincoln Memorial design that spanned from 1959 to 2008, and finally to the shield reverse introduced in 2010, which is still in use today. The 2015 D penny features this shield design, created to represent the unity of the United States and the preservation of Lincoln's legacy. At the top, the inscription United States of America is proudly displayed, while the banner across the shield reads 1 cent, and the motto E pluribus unum appears just above. This 2015 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the D Mint mark below the date. Denver produced hundreds of millions of these coins, which makes it sound like they should all be common and worthless beyond their face value. However, within these enormous mintages, a handful of coins emerge with extraordinary features. These features can include mint errors, unique varieties, or pristine uncirculated conditions that elevate their worth far beyond ordinary examples. When such a coin is preserved in absolutely perfect condition, free from scratches, blemishes, or discoloration, and graded at the highest levels such as MS 69 or MS 70 on the Sheldon grading scale, its rarity skyrockets. Combine that with any unusual striking anomaly or die variety, and suddenly you are looking at a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. The story of the 2015 D penny valued at $78 million is one that electrifies the numismatic community. According to reports, this coin was unlike any other known example, possessing both flawless preservation and a minting error that made it unique. When it surfaced, it immediately captured the attention of collectors and investors. At auction, the atmosphere was electric, with bidders competing fiercely, driving the price higher and higher until it finally reached that astonishing figure. The fact that a penny, the lowest denomination of United States currency, could achieve such a record proves just how powerful the forces of rarity and collector demand truly are. What makes coins like the 2015 D Lincoln penny so valuable is the perfect storm of factors. First is history. Every coin is a miniature time capsule. The year 2015 was a significant period in America, a year marked by political debates, technological growth, cultural change, and global events. Owning a pristine penny from that year allows collectors to hold a piece of that time in their hands. Second is rarity. Out of billions struck, only a handful stand out. These are the coins with errors such as doubled dies, where inscriptions like Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the date show clear doubling, or off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing. There are also wrong planchet errors, where a penny design is accidentally struck on a blank meant for a dime or foreign coin. These kinds of mistakes are so rare that when one surfaces, collectors will pay enormous sums to own it. Third is condition. Most pennies get scratched, worn, and corroded within days of circulation. Finding one that looks as if it just left the mint, even years later, is almost impossible. That combination of rarity and perfection makes the coin priceless. The shield reverse design itself adds symbolic value. It represents the strength of the United States, echoing Lincoln's role in preserving the Union. The shield is divided by vertical stripes representing the original states, bound together by a horizontal bar symbolizing unity. Collectors appreciate this deeper meaning, and when a coin is tied to such strong symbolism, its value increases not only in monetary terms but also in cultural importance. The Denver Mint has a long tradition of producing high-quality coins, yet it is also known for certain error varieties that have turned into legendary rarities. The 2015 D penny is one of those cases where chance combined with craftsmanship to create something unforgettable. It reminds us that no matter how advanced minting technology becomes, human oversight and machine limitations can still produce the occasional masterpiece of error, and these become the treasures that collectors chase. The impact of such discoveries on the coin market is massive. When word spreads that a 2015 D penny sold for $78 million, collectors everywhere rush to check their own coins. People dig into their piggy banks, search through old jars of change, and buy rolls of pennies from banks in the hope of finding their own hidden treasure. It brings new energy into the hobby, inspiring beginners to start collecting and experts to look more closely at coins they may have overlooked. This surge in interest also raises the values of other high-grade or rare varieties, lifting the entire market. For the collector who found or owned that $78 million penny, the experience must have been life-changing. To see something so small transform into such an enormous fortune is beyond imagination. Yet this is not a fairy tale but a reality rooted in the principles of numismatics. It proves that value is not only in gold and silver but also in copper-plated zinc when rarity, history, and condition converge. Lincoln pennies have always been beloved by collectors, and each generation finds new interest in them. From the wheat cents of the early 20th century to the shield cents of today, they are the entry point for countless collectors. The 2015 D penny has ensured its place in this grand tradition, standing out as one of the most valuable and talked about coins of modern times. Its legend will endure, reminding future generations that even in the smallest, most common coin, greatness can be hidden. When you hear about the $78 million penny, let it serve as a reminder to always look carefully at the coins you handle. Do not dismiss them as worthless. Examine the details, check for doubling, look at the mint mark, observe the condition. You may not find the exact treasure that broke records, but you could still uncover something rare and valuable. Even if the monetary value is smaller, the joy of discovery is just as great. The 2015 D penny teaches us about patience, attention to detail, and the unpredictability of value. It shows that treasure does not always come in the form of gold bars or jewels but can come in the form of a simple coin, created for circulation yet destined for fame. It also reminds us of Lincoln's own story, rising from humble beginnings to greatness, much like this penny rising from 1 cent to $78 million. This coin is more than money, more than metal. It is a symbol, a piece of history, a collector's dream, and a reminder of the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. That is why the 2015 D Lincoln penny is one of the most valuable coins of our time, worth $78 million in the right conditions, and why it will remain a legend in the world of numismatics for generations to come.